my calculations are correct, when this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some serious shit.
They're here.
Do you really think you have a chance against us, Mr. Cowboy?
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
It's showtime.
Right, welcome everybody to another episode of the VHS Strikes Back. I'm one of your hosts, Chris, and my co-host, a very good friend, is Dave.
Hey there, Chris, and hello to our listeners out there. Welcome to the VHS Strikes Back, the show where we dust off the old video player and go on a nostalgic journey to look at the good and the bad movies of yesteryear. Sorry, Chris, I was just giggling away there at our reality TV conversation. But, Chris, where would you like to start today?
Well, Dave, we have got a classic movie from 1997. This has been picked by our patron and good friend Susan, who I said last week recently met in Vegas, so thank you for picking this one. It has got a Vegas theme, Dave, as well, towards the end of the movie, so I'm very happy with this. Mr. Continuity, watching it again, he's like, well, no. So we'll get into that when we get to that part of the movie. However, this was a classic movie that I watched, I think this was a Britannia special. It must have been, because I remember there was this, The Rock, Face
John
Off.
Smith then, was it?
J. Smith, Dave, yeah. 78 Great Stone Road, not 76, where we used to live at. Furswood, Manchester, M16 OHD. But there you go. I'll take that. Yeah, they're away. No problem. Yeah, okay. So I remember it was because we got Train Spotting in the same thing or whatever it was. But yeah, this movie has always been one of them ones that I've enjoyed, and like Sweet Home Alabama, which I've got a story about that later on. It was just fun. And also, because John Malkovich looked like Stone Cold Steve Austin, I think watching it in 2025, Dave, he may have been the less hormone-induced Stone Cold Steve Austin, but
he's like the mini-me Steve Austin.
Yeah, he is. This questionable dialogue all over the place. However, I just remember watching it and enjoying it, and I did have it on VHS. I did buy it, so it was a bit of a favourite film, but I don't think I've watched it for maybe 10, 15 years. Genuinely haven't. But if he's ever on TV and he'd say the back end of the film, I'll always watch it and see it out, because I just think when it wasn't, it was such a good movie, and it was just Nicolas Cage just being ridiculous and with one of the greatest haircuts ever. So it was. What about yourself, Dave?
Yes, I mean, it's become a meme pretty much, hasn't it? And there's lots of memeable things in this movie, but it has had a bit of a renaissance in recent years. But yeah, this was, again, for me, 1997, prime blockbusters time. So when this came out in the video shop, I think before that, though, I think Nicolas Cage had 3 fucking amazing years, didn't he? He had The Rock that came out, which basically got him this job. And then after this, he got Face Off as well. So Nicolas Cage was at the top of his game around this time. Now, I must admit, I'd seen, I don't even know if I watched the movie, but I'd seen the trailer for Raising Arizona. And I was just like, I don't get this guy as an action hero at all. However, I remember watching The Rock on video, and I was like, oh, right, no, this is really good. We need to do that at some point. But coming into this one, no idea what it was about. It was a big blockbuster, though. Again, if you remember in Blockbuster, you knew it was a big movie because it had fucking half a wall dedicated to it. But yeah, I just remember watching it, and 2 things that sprung to mind when I watched it the first time is, fuck me, there's a lot of people in here, like a lot of recognisable actors. You've got Steve Buscemi, as big fan of Reservoir Dogs at that time, and well, still now, but even back then. John Cusack, who I thought of more as like the 80s. Obviously, you had Nick Cage in there as well. I'd already watched From Dusk Till Dawn at this point, so Trejo was in there as well, and you're like, fuck yeah, there's loads of people here. Had no idea who Dave Chappelle was, but John Malkovich as well. So yeah, it was like this big ensemble cast. It wasn't quite Ocean's 11, but it was like, oh fuck yeah, there's loads of people in here, and it was just balls to the wall action. And so I just watched movies to watch movies at that time. And because we've done so many of these now, you do look at it a little bit differently in terms of like how it's structured and all the different components that go into a movie. But yeah, just really enjoyed it. but it was just like a cheap, nasty burger. It's something with no nutritional value at all, but just, an enjoyable popcorn flick. How about yourself?
Yeah, the same. Like I say, real off the wall, stupid music, everything, just pure macho fucking machismo bollocks, basically. And yeah, it just did everything he said on the tin, did it? That's I think people of our age, if you're into the sort of movies we're into, Dave, this was just up there, wasn't it? As definitely a rental or one that you'd add into your collection. It was just pure action, and one that I've always had good memories of as well. I know we'll get into it like we normally do, but yeah, just the fact that it's just silly, over the top action, and forget about the dialogue. It is just Nicolas Cage just being absolute badass. So yeah, really, really looking forward to this one.
And you know what's weird as well? So How Do I Live Without You was the official movie song, even though, Sweet Home Alabama is way more recognizable and stood the test of time. So people probably think of that one. But the official song was that How Do I Live Without You, which sounds like it should be a Celine Dion song. And as over the last sort of 10, 15 years, as basically the box office has been more dominated by comic book movies, I don't think you have that anymore, do you? Where you have this summer blockbuster and then the main song is just played everywhere all the time. It was something I didn't really think of until watching this movie. Maybe we discussed it before and I just forgot about it. But you used to get that all the time, didn't you? It's like Bryan Adams with Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves and stuff like that. And Wet, Wet, Wet with Four Weddings and a Funeral. It was just one of those things. You had this summer blockbuster, but it was inseparable from the song as well. But it's just bonkers, isn't it? Because this film is such balls to the wall action. And then you've got this Celine Dion-like love song, which is a good song, but it's just weird to have that as your main song that you're almost using to advertise the movie with.
Yeah, you're right. And I think it was a 14-year-old Leanne Rhymes, Dave, sang this one. That's the mad thing.
So she was due to sing it, but I think the official track was someone else whose name
was it?
Escapes me right now.
Oh, she sings this, doesn't she, Leanne Rhymes?
Let's face it, that would be weird as fuck, wouldn't it? So Trisha Yearwood, who's apparently a country singer, she was the person who sang it for the soundtrack.
Ah, right. I know Leanne Rhymes has definitely sung it. I know it was her song or whatever, but yeah.
That would be fucking weird, wouldn't it? For this fucking action flick where you got characters like fucking Johnny 23 and stuff. It's just, I know it was the 90s, but even they probably thought that was too far.
Yeah, that's true. Now, Dave, we normally get into the trailer at this point, but we've got something a little bit different we're going to try, haven't we, today? So we're going to do the trailer ourselves, aren't we, Mr. Horrocks? So we've had a few problems when we put the episodes on YouTube, it's not visible in certain countries because we're using the trailers and these copyright stupid things keep coming up. So we thought, you know what, to save all the messing about and all the arsake of doing it, and certain people have messaged on content saying we can't see the latest episodes, you've come up with a fantastic concept, Dave, which I'll be looking forward to this. It's probably just going to mean you laughing our heads off, but I cannot wait for the trailer of what we're going to produce today.
Yeah, like you say, it's been going on for a while. It's like, oh, fuck it. You know what? We could do our own trailer with our own trailer theme music. And I have no idea how this goes because this may be a one and done. Because when we've tried to remember like doing the Suno drop-ins and stuff, it was fucking horrendous, quite honestly. Yeah, and that's not being humble, genuinely, objectively terrible. So, and we did that other stuff for One Movie Punch, didn't we? Where we were sort of acting like as if an alien was chasing us or something. So, also fucking horrendous. So anyway. What I'll say, Chris, is let's get into the trailer.
Let's go.
In a world where every prisoner is somehow a world-class villain, and one man has an iconic wig,
comes the most airborne nonsense since Snakes on a Plane met Die Hard at a truck stop in Alabama.
Nicolas Cage is Cameron Poe, a man with a mullet, a mission, and the worst southern accent this side of Del Boy doing Gone with the Wind.
Put the body back in the box. Who even talks like that?
Armed with nothing but a tank top, a love for justice, and flowing golden locks.
He's got to stop a bunch of the most dangerous lunatics ever shoved into a metal tube with wings.
John Malkovich is Cyrus the Virus Grissom, because every action baddie in the 90s needed a catchy nickname and a PhD in overacting.
Steve Buscemi in there too, playing a serial killer who gets a redemption arc for chatting to a little girl and not murdering her.
Progressive.
And don't forget Ving Rhames, Danny Trejo, and that poor pilot who probably just wanted a quiet flight to Vegas.
It's explosions. It's slow-mo walks. It's Cage versus gravity.
On air, where the plane isn't the only thing crashing.
From the producers of How Is This Not a Michael Bay Film and the director of We're Doing What Now?
Buckle up for the VHS thrill ride of your childhood, where the laws of physics are optional and every line sounds like it was written during a pub crawl.
And yes, we still tear up when he gives the sewer bunny to his daughter.
Even though it's covered in blood, sweat, and probably hepatitis.
Con Air, coming soon to a VHS tape that has been watched so much it's just static and memories. Cameron Poe. Oh wait, no. Cameron Poe, a decorated Army Ranger, is convicted of involuntary manslaughter after killing a drunken gangster in self-defense in a bar fight. 8 years later, he's granted parole and boards a prison transport plane for a flight to Alabama, where he hopes to finally reunite with Trisha and meet their daughter Cassie for the first time. Travelling with Cameron is his diabetic cellmate and close friend, Mike Baby O Odell. Now, Chris, what do you reckon to the opening of this movie?
Well, Dave, I've got to say, I did bring this up last week and I chuckled to myself when I said, it always used to get me how he got sent to prison, and you were like, but yeah, that's pretty much the movie. If he doesn't go to the prison, what's the point? That's it. You know what? It starts off, doesn't it? He's really quick. He's got the short hair. He comes into the bar and straight away you've got the typical cliche, like, drunken wankers. Now, I don't know about you, Dave. We've all been in pubs and we've been in loads when we were stone cold sober in the band. But it's very rare you'd get like a group of, say, 3 lads who were just there being arseholes together. It was just like a little gang together out there wanting to beat people up. But straight away, for some reason, they make a play on his wife, don't they? And she tells him to calm down. And then straight away, his wife's like, yeah, I thought that guy was going to come out. And you're like, well, hang on. Fucking 3 lechy wankers are being disrespectful. There is a point where you've got to say, hang on, enough's enough. But then when they go outside, I love it. I love the rain. I love the fact that he's getting a kick in when she goes off. Next week, Dave, the old palm of your hand one that was in a lot of the old action movies, wasn't it? Oh yeah, he sends your nose into your brain. Well, that's what he did. The guy who he killed is a guy out of the Vin Diesel one, which I love, Knockaround Guys. He's the guy who actually fights in the bar. That's one of the biggest memeable fight scenes I've seen ever. He's always on TikTok, YouTube shorts, everything. But he's the guy, he's an arsehole. He always plays an arsehole in these movies. And he gets killed. But straight away, you then get some of the worst fucking dialogue when he's writing to his missus. He's like, hey, sugar bear, and all this fucking bollocks. It's terrible. And obviously he doesn't want his daughter to see him, which it's a bit of a stretch, obviously, isn't it? I mean, he's got 8 years worth of a mullet going on there, but that whole bit with his daughter when he's talking, she goes, Daddy, I don't want to go to school. He's like, yeah, education's important. I'm like, fuck. No, I can't even do the voice, but his voice is terrible in it. Apparently he went down south of America, did he? Fucking the deep south to get to train his voice, Dave. I don't know who fucking taught him.
Hold on, was this a Sean Connery job?
Yeah.
I'll just go down to Alabama for 5 minutes and I'll have perfected the accent by then. Fucking that. just the Gambit style attempt at the fucking Louisiana or Alabama accent is brilliant. For me, it's when he says "my daughter." There's something in particular about that. But I mean, it doesn't seem terrible when he's writing his letters, and like you say, he's having this back and forth. So you got this voiceover. But I mean, there's a bit of a prison riot at one time. Doesn't seem like a terrible prison. I mean, it's not like fucking Shawshank, is it? No, that is a terrible prison to be in. But yeah, it just, I don't know, it just doesn't seem that bad to me. But you talk about the bar scene, and I'd watched it. Now, I've not watched this for years, and not any particular reason. I remembered enjoying it at the time. I haven't abandoned it, just haven't got around to watching it again. The whole bar fight thing, I mean, what I don't get is, like, if you read up, she's supposed to already be a month pregnant. I'm like, he's just got back from the army, hasn't he? He's just been away somewhere. So how did that happen? And you've got these, like you said, when we were in the band, and when you wouldn't drink because you're driving or whatever, you become so aware that people are arseholes when they're drunk. Now, when you're one of the arseholes, it's okay. But when you're stone cold sober, it's fucking shit. He's there, he comes into the bar, he's stone cold sober, he's got this lecherous fucker who, you've got to be aware, it's just dangerous. Take yourself out of the situation, Cameron. Don't be fucking slow-mo dancing with her right in front of their faces, because something is going to go off. And so I think straight off the bat, you've just got to say logic. It just doesn't exist in this movie for anything. There's nothing that stands up to a slight little, well, why would that happen? And so in this beginning bit, I was starting to think about the logic, and then I just thought, you know what? Fuck that. This is not for this movie, and I'm just going to park my brain over there, and I'm just going to enjoy the spectacle of it.
Yeah, I think you're right. Because even the premise when he's in the very brief court room and the judge just goes hard on him, he's like, hang on, he's a decorated army ranger. 3 guys have fucking tried to beat him up outside, haven't they, with knives and everything. His missus witnessed the knives. She's run in to get help. He's just defended himself, otherwise he'd be dead. And the fucking judge is going, yeah, well, you've got, like Taken, you've got
there
a
are
set
different
of
laws.
Yeah, different laws for you, because basically you're a lethal weapon. We still set him up as, like, the badass fucking character Cameron. But however, Cameron Poe is one of the worst fucking lead actor names ever, isn't it? Cameron Poe. It's ridiculous. But then you do get a Nicolas Cageism, as they call it, when he's there with his fucking mate, and he all of a sudden that baby and he's like, and he just goes full on over the top Cage, doesn't he? Like, grabs him and everything. He's like, yeah, and I'm like, what the fuck? He's just come from nowhere. And it's like, it's so bizarre, the start of it. But like you said, just park all that at the door, because the dialogue is terrible throughout the movie. The dialogue is awful, and just enjoy it for what it is. It is just an adventure. It's an action movie, and it's more of an 80s action movie, isn't it, really? I know this is like late 90s as such, 96, 97, but it feels like a proper 80s movie. And once they get on the plane, within about 10 minutes, the plane's fucking in chaos. And Cyrus the Virus, I do think John Malkovich is good in this, even though he is proper camp as Cyrus the Virus. But the whole premise of it, and him out of the dad out of the commitments, John Cusack's rubbish in it as well. He hates this movie, doesn't he? But
he does, yeah.
Yeah, it's just Colm Meaney, that's the fucking Duncan Malloy. He's got a nice Corvette though, we'll give him that. But yes, I think to get us on the plane, you've got to go through about 15 minutes of shit acting, shit dialogue, storytelling. But once we're on the plane, this is where Con Air comes to life, I think. I think it's like you said before our wonderful trailer. It's got so many different actors in it, like action people, Danny Trejo, Dusk Till Dawn. He was in Mariachi. What's the other one with? No, Mariachi. The one with Desperado. He's in that, with the guy with the knives and everything. We've never covered that as well. It's a great movie. But yeah, it's just it is what it is. It's just on the tin, on the nose. There's no thingy to the audience. It's like, strap in, we're going for a bit of an action film. And I think it does everything it should, really.
Yeah. I mean, apparently Cage had a lot of influence over the story. So this was produced by Jerry Bruckheimer, and he used to work with Don Simpson, and they worked together on things like Beverly Hills Cop, and they couldn't agree on this script because Don Simpson thought this was shit. they actually fell out over it, and then he ended up dying, unfortunately, in 96. And so Bruckheimer took it forward, though, and it seemed like they were lining up loads of other people, so lining up the likes of Tom Cruise, Sly Stallone, Mickey Rourke, and basically, because Bruckheimer had done The Rock, he ended up kind of going back to Nicolas Cage, and I think even Nicolas Cage thought it was shit, but he negotiated that, okay, he's got some influence over the story writing and dialogue and stuff. So that whole prison scene at the start was all his idea, the idea that he had a reason to be on the plane. So Baby O's character, having the woman police officer. I mean, it's like you've got all these fucking maniacs and rapists and murderers and stuff. Let's get this woman officer on here. But that was all Cage's idea, to give Cameron Poe a reason to stay on the plane. Because otherwise, just fucking get off it. You know, you've not seen your daughter ever, but she's 8 years old now. You've not seen your wife for 8 years as well, apparently. You must be bursting at the seams. Like, fucking, just get off the plane, mate. So the fact that he's so, or what Cage was going for, is he's so principled. He's just such a great Southern guy that, you know, he had to have this, you know, he couldn't possibly abandon his friend and the woman police officer.
It's fucking bollocks, isn't it? My daughter, my daughter wouldn't, you know, she wouldn't they allow her daddy and all this fucking bollocks. It's like, come on, mate, just get off. You're right. I think what's really strange is, though, like, the prisoners go through metal detectors, but somehow they've all got these fucking little pins in the hands, which was undetectable when they were getting on. And then, obviously, Cole Meany's a wanker, isn't he? The DA guy. He is such a prick. He is an absolute wanker. And he's just like having none of it. He puts one of his boys on there. He's not allowed to have a gun on. Next minute, he puts a gun down his fucking sock. And you're like, well, that's definitely going to come back and fucking bite you on the ass. Obviously, yeah, he's going to be some top agent as well. He's not going to be some shit agent. But once they get up and they're flying, and then they all break out and everything, and it's like, oh no, you know, here we go. And like you say, Johnny 23 there by Danny Trejo is like, she is a good-looking prison officer, isn't she? You know what I mean, Dave? You know, she's got that sort of middle-aged look about her, but you can tell like she is good-looking and she is pretty, and it's like, come on, you know what I mean? Like, we know that's what's happening there. And then obviously Ving Rhames, Dave, you know, Marcellus Wallace, our prison from Pulp Fiction.
He had a better time in this prison than he did at Zed's.
Yeah, he certainly did. Well, I don't know, Dave, but he did, Zed, yeah. But I think, like, the action itself, like, you know, Cyrus the Virus, that's a great cult name that you probably remember. If someone said Cyrus the Virus, we all go Con Air. From our age group, you go, yeah, Con Air, John Malkovich. Unusual movie for him to do. But I think when Dave Chappelle sets that guy on fire, he's got like flammable, like petrol or whatever he's got in his mouth. He coughs it up. There's a native
swallowed it, hasn't he?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
He's ingested it.
Yeah, he swallowed it. And then the Native American guy is next to him, who's giving a bit of aggro, and then he sets him on fire, and you're like, oh, they're really doing this, you know? And it's so silly as a movie, and I love it. I'll be honest with you, I love it. I think it's so ridiculous watching it now. None of it makes sense, and the amount of times they pan in to fucking Cameron Poe's face, and he's got that look, you know, the old, like, almost the Jaws thing, you know, on Roy Schneider when they zoom it in on the iconic moment when he's on the beach. There's loads of that, and he's looking dead fucking mean and moody, isn't he, and everything. And yeah, it is a great, silly movie in some respects. I'm so glad Susan's picked it, because it's just, it's garbage for everything else other than the action. But I've watched it that many times. It's just so familiar when you put it on. I feel like I've not watched it enough, if I'm being honest, after watching it the last couple of days.
And you say about Cyrus the Virus, I mean, in my memory, because I've got a different experience, because again, I really liked it at the time, but just haven't really watched it since. I've seen the memes like many times over, but to actually sit and watch the movie, I just haven't done that. And it's so camp.
Yeah, 100%.
That's what surprised me is like, you think of the camp 80s and that's fine, but at the time, I mean, this is 97. I'm thinking this is gritty. This is, bit of realism and stuff. And I'm like, this is borderline a comic book movie.
Yeah.
So that was the biggest surprise for me.
Yeah, it is. It is like that. And I think even like you say about, you've got to basically forgive anything in the movie. Even how fast the plane travels and stuff. It's like when they go to Carson City and then they put like basically the black box on that, like,
the tour
the
plane
tourist, the tourist plane and all that sort of thing. And that guy gets on to fly the plane. He's the one out of another 48 hours who everyone thought was the Sandman or whatever he was called in 48 hours. And he's part of the gang. He's part of the biker gang. He's the pilot. So we recognise him straight away.
It was Lemmy.
Yeah, he does look like Lemmy. He does actually. He does look like Lemmy. And he's the pilot. And obviously now there's a sandstorm, Dave. So conveniently, nobody can notice that all the prisoners are there. I mean, that sandstorm looks like something in the Sahara, doesn't it? I know they do get it in Vegas and they do get around Nevada and that. But come on, that was a proper stretch. But what's really weird is like Larkin, John Cusack, sort of, he hears what's going on. Then they don't. Then they realise what's happened. So obviously, Comey, he goes after the plane, and he's the wrong plane. He's just an absolute loose cannon, and all this. But it's when his agent, like, he's getting the cuffs taken off by Dave Chappelle's character, and he's getting around his leg, and he's panicking about the gun. Now, he's supposed to be a trained assassin, isn't he? An absolute top-level agent. There's no way you'd put him on a plane if he was just some absolute deadbeat. And he goes full on, I have never picked a gun up in my life or been in any sort of situation where my skills as a career have been called into play. He looks like he's never held a gun, but for some reason, he does the old Cyrus, and it's like, what's your plan here? You've pulled a gun out. You've got all the Chappelle's character. He then gets the woman. Well, you're going to lose straight away. It was the most ridiculous play in a movie I've ever seen. You wouldn't mind if it was like a prisoner who wanted to get off or whatever he was trying to do. But the fact that he's got a pea shooter gun with one bullet and he's got this proper handgun, I'm like, it never stuck with me when I watched it in the 90s, let alone now. That makes no sense because that guy should be a trained, cool, calm, collected officer, and he's an absolute shithouse who just wants to get off the plane. That scene is just so out of the way for me. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, it is a bit of a trope. It's just usually done a bit better. But he was just this bumbling fool, wasn't he? It's like this guy, and when they were saying he couldn't bring the gun on and stuff, he was all cocksure and, got all the confidence in the world. And again, I've not watched this for ages, but I'm like, oh, you're definitely dead.
Yeah.
But I think, to be honest, it's probably the way it's acted or directed. He might have been directed to do that, but he just comes across like this panicked, bumbling fool. But I'm sure I've said it before, but I fucking love aliens. But, you have all these trained, these hardened, combat-hardened Marines and stuff, and you get this interaction, and they've got this camaraderie because they've seen battle together. See a fucking alien, and then they're like, fucking hell, shoot everything, it's fucking bullshit. So they do it a lot, but again, I think they get away with it more. I just think he acted it so badly. He just made him look like he was just a passenger who got caught stealing a Mars bar or something and ended up on this plane with all these real, very dangerous people, and the gun has just gone to him, and he's like, oh, he's just panicked and done this really stupid thing. But yeah, I agree that even though I can park my brain for most of this, that was one of the worst scenes, I think.
Yeah, it is. And I think even when Thingy comes on, the main, like, Hannibal Lecter, Garland Green, Steve Buscemi, like, that character is unbelievable. And I want to talk about that later, but fuck, he comes in, I had someone's dead fucking head on top of mine. I wore it as a cap or whatever. He's killed
through
all these people.
states.
Through 3 states, the families, someone cheated on him, but he didn't kill them, he killed their family and all this. And it's like, Cyrus of Ice, like, I love your work. We can't have a man like that chained up. So they just let him out. And, he looks, and I'm not saying anybody can be a killer or whatever, but it's like, he is the nails one of the lot of them, by the sounds of it. You're sort of waiting for thinking, he can't be having a fight with Cameron Poe, can he? But he's obviously just unhinged. So I think, like, Steve Buscemi actually steals a lot of the scenes, doesn't he? Especially towards the end of the movie. Like, there's some pretty memorable scenes, especially, like, pop culture references for us. But yeah, the whole fucking sandstorm, the way this out, and then Dave Chappelle's character gets killed, doesn't he? Because he's trying to that girl, and then we find, because obviously he goes down, Cameron, doesn't he? Because there's something blocking the plane, they're losing speed. He thinks it's like the landing gear. There's him wedged in it, and that's when he puts the thing on, doesn't he? He writes on him, and to Dave, they could have been anywhere on that plane. But the plane lands on a fucking car. It would have more likely landed, because they don't usually go over popular. I know they've robbed this, so it's not like they try not to go over populated areas, don't they? But it'd be over like some glacier or some forest somewhere. But no, it lands slap bang on that guy's car
in the middle of a city.
Yeah, the middle of a city. So there's loads of scenes and silly things that don't make sense, and the whole, how fast the plane's travelling, to the fact that Larkin can catch him, even in that Corvette, is ridiculous. There's no way that he would be within the vicinity. It's like they've just done a circle round where they took off, isn't it? It's really bizarre, all that.
Yeah. Again, I think every scene you could probably pick holes in. It just, none of it makes any sense. But yeah, I mean, they're going from California. They obviously end up in Vegas. And like you say, I mean, how many fucking populated cities do you have in between California and Vegas? That's what there's that many. There's a lot of fucking desert. But yeah, it was a bit silly, wasn't it? And I just want to go back to Steve Buscemi, because, I mean, talk about a rip-off Hannibal Lecter. They've just said, let's have Hannibal Lecter, but let's not call him Hannibal Lecter. We'll make him this psycho who's very casual about some of the horrendous crimes and murders that he's done. And he'll just be this really nice guy. And I find it weird that everyone thinks, oh yeah, Steve Buscemi, he got this redemption arc, didn't he? What a great guy. Because he didn't kill the little girl. They did a bit of a fake out where they think, there's this tense scene and they're singing, we've got the whole world in his hands and whatever, and it's like, oh no. And you see him walking off with the doll and you're like, you bastard. And then we see, oh no, he didn't kill her. What a legend. So when he's walking away,
that's like,
fucking Tobey Maguire in Spider-Man 3 is walking away there, and we're all like, yeah, well done, you didn't murder the little girl.
It's bizarre, that, because I remember watching it as a teenager probably, or no, maybe no, but might still have been 20 odd, wasn't it? But I mean, yeah, as a kid, maybe I felt like it.
You'd have been 19, wouldn't you?
19, it was 97. Yeah, 19, you're right. Maths don't work there, Dave, you're right. But yeah, I think in watching it, I remember that first time when he sat across that, like, dilapidated pool, and he's talking to her and she's bossing him about and he's looking at her, and then you get that weird camera thing, like he's hazing over and as if he's going to kill her. And I'm with you, it's like, this guy has killed multiple people, and I remember watching it with that real fear of, oh no, he's not going to fucking kill that kid, is he? Which they don't usually do in movies, do they, unless it's part of the main plot sort of thing. And when he walks off with the doll, I remember at the time thinking, you bastard, you. But there is a fake out, because as the plane takes off from Lerner Airport, she's there waving the doll. So it's like he's become this, like you said, he's a reformed character because he played dolls with some fucking 7-year-old kid or whatever. He's utterly ridiculous. And you're right, he gets a redemption arc because he's in the middle of the casino, one of the most dangerous men in the world. He's sat at the craps table playing fucking dice. like he's nothing at the end of the movie. I know we've cut that and we'll go back to it all. That is utterly ridiculous. He would never get out of Las Vegas, would he? He'd be the first one to be trying to catch. But for some reason, they've just turned a blind eye, Dave. Maybe they think he's dead or something in the plane. It's not explained, but he's sort of like, come on. He's very recognisable. But I know, obviously, we don't know what happens afterwards, and it's a movie, so stop worrying about it, Chris. But his whole redemption arc is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
I mean, the crimes that this guy has committed, he would be world famous. It's like, you look like the Yorkshire Ripper, you do. You know, it's funny that. It's funny. I saw the other day on the news that the Yorkshire Ripper escaped. You know, it'd be that level, wouldn't it? Where you've got this really recognisable person, but utter nonsense. But the thing is, like you say, Steve Buscemi's so fucking fantastic. He just steals every scene that he's in, doesn't he? So I think that is the thing that people probably gravitate towards, you know, and ignore the fact that he's a fucking legend on the craps table. But what about John Cusack, though? He said he never wants to talk about this movie, does he? He just, of all the movies he's done, he just wants to black this one out. And I do think, you know, actually, we haven't done many Cusack movies. You know, we haven't done things like Grosse Pointe Blank, and, you know, he did some earlier ones in the 80s that we should probably cover at some point. But I do feel like he is phoning this in completely.
It's terrible.
I can only think that he's looked at the script and just thought, well, fuck a doodle do. I need the money. So I need to do this. But right. So, you know, a bunch of criminals escape on a plane. And I just happen to look through everyone's record and I spot that Cameron Poe seems like a stand-up guy. So I am going to bet everything. And even to the point where I'm arguing with the Irish guy, we shouldn't shoot down this plane full of criminals over the desert. We should just let them go because, you know, Cameron Poe might save the day there. So I can only imagine he's reading this thinking, fuck me, I hate everything about this. And I do think Cusack is phoning this in completely. He's way below where I'd normally expect him to be.
I'm with you. I think, like, and you can see the disdain in his acting, I think, when he's saying some of the lines, when he meets Cameron, doesn't he, and they're in that, like, hangar. And he's like, larking, he goes, I'm going to put my gun down. And he's like, he's sort of looking at like, right, yeah, great. Yeah, put your gun down. It's fine. And he says something to Poe, and it's so bad. And I'm like, oh my God. And even the interaction with Duncan, I keep calling him his real name, called me, but like Duncan Malloy, it's so bad that like Duncan's such a wanker. He should be on the fucking plane with the prisoners. He's an absolute prick, isn't he? You know what I mean? Like he's firing at the plane, and like you say about Steve Buscemi, there's a bit there where the helicopters are they're in attack helicopters, but Cyrus is firing a fucking spud gun at him. That gun wouldn't even hit that plane, would it? They're not that close. They're in proper Apache helicopters or whatever, fighter helicopters, and it's like, there's no way they'd get... One of them runs to the back of a shotgun. Well, what's he going to do with a fucking shotgun at a plane that's bulletproof as well? A helicopter is pretty much bulletproof. Nothing. And there is a bit, though, when the whole of the inside of the plane is getting decimated, and Steve Buscemi's just singing, I got the whole world. It is, you know, and that's good. That is good, because he plays to his character. He has no fear, does he, of like dying or anything because of what he's done. But when they go into this is where it comes in for me. So just before then, Sweet Home Alabama kicks in, doesn't it, when they first took off from Murder Airfield. Now, I've got a story, Dave. I have a story. So, February 2012, and obviously we grew up with a lot of rock music from the 70s and that, so all Leonard Skinner and that, Freebird and Sweet Home Alabama played quite regular in our house. But gets to Vegas, first time we'd ever been, February 2012, Sam's birthday, and we get there in the afternoon and we're totally overwhelmed. Even I'm overwhelmed. I'm like, I've been dying to get here since I was a kid, to Vegas, always had a fascination with it. And we get there and we walk round, and obviously we've been on this flight for 10 hours, really. It's like 1, 2 in the morning, but their time, it's about 4, 5 at night. So we go and get somewhere to eat at Denny's. And honestly, we walked down the strip and it was just chaos. And I remember saying to Sam going, I don't like it. Which you wouldn't believe now, Mr. I've got a tattoo of America on my arm and all that crap. But at the time, I was totally overwhelmed with it. And I was like, this is you. She was like, oh, don't. So we went back into the MGM Grand where we were staying, and we basically went to bed early, and we were sort of up about 3-4 in the morning, like you do with the jet lag. And then I said, shall I go and get some breakfast? And there was a food court downstairs, like Nathan's, everything's a McDonald's. And I remember coming out of the lift, Sam was still in the room, I remember coming out of the lift, turning and walking, because MGM Grand is one of the biggest hotels, it's massive to walk through, and going through this food court, come on, Sweet Home Alabama. And then all of a sudden, Dave, I don't know what it was, it all just kicked in. We'd not been at the hotel, there was no reason for me to go, I get it. And he was just playing at full blast on the casino at like 7 in the morning, kicked in, and I'm like, holy shit. And the next day, I remember it was American Woman, Lenny Kravitz was the next day, and they were my two first songs, especially at some Alabama. So every time I hear it, it always reminds me of like how, I don't know why, it just kicked in with the Vegas thing, and I was like, oh, I get it. This is unbelievable. This is like over the top, larger than life. This is what Vegas is about, like just an adult's playground. And I don't know why, that just was the sort of grounding point for me to absolutely fall in love with Vegas. But anyway, so when it comes on, it always has a special place for me, that song. I just thought I'd throw that one in there. However,
it is. Well, I will just say, because it's such a great song, isn't it? I mean, that's almost... I haven't sat down to ever think about what my desert island disc would be, but that's got to be up there. It's just such a great song. I do love the line from Buscemi, though, where it's like the definition of irony, a bunch of idiots on a plane playing a song by a band who died on a plane crash. For me, I remember I was in Mexico, and my ideal, I do love Vegas, but my ideal is always by the pool, swim up bar, somewhere incredibly sunny. It's fantastic. So I was in Mexico, and they had a band by the pool. And nice. You just literally, and the two songs that I remember them playing all the time were REM's Losing My Religion and Sweet Home Alabama. And the only problem was, I think in the second week, there are a truckload of Americans in there. So the pool was overly full, Chris, for me, and all fucking singing their head off, ruining the band's sound. But I do. So when I hear that song, I think back to that time. I think of laying on the sun lounger, dipping in the pool occasionally, swimming up to the bar for a cocktail or a beer or whatever. And so it's funny when you make that song, that connection with a song and a place in time. It just sticks sometimes, doesn't it? So yeah, that's what I always think of when I hear that.
Yeah, that's a good point. And as you were talking about that, you said these songs always mean something to somebody, something else. I was just looking at the Rachel Ticotin, Jesus, obviously the guard. She's in Total Recall. That's who it is. I think it's Annie.
Yes, I didn't make that connection. Yeah.
It's only because I'm just a little bit wrong. I'm sure I recognise her somewhere else. Anyway, it's Total Recall. So, classic Dave, let's say, song, brilliant song. And I think what gets me though, right? So I've been up in the stratospheres. When they fly into Vegas and he's like land the plane, because Cameron Poe was
me too,
soldier, and he goes full on. I've had enough now. Now his mate's been shot by Cyrus. He locks them in. He comes on, chins a few people. Then that guy shoots him in the arm, like the Terminator, just brushes it off, doesn't he, Dave? He's gone in that full-on adrenaline mode, knocks him out, gets him.
Like fucking Lauren Avedon in No Retreat, No Surrender 3.
Well, Dave, don't be slagging the Alexander brothers off. Bless their heart, we will not have slander about them boys. But yeah, he makes him land, and obviously they're going down. But I shouldn't do this. But Mr. Continuity is like, they could have made the fucking airstrip, because he goes past the Strat, where obviously the airport is. He's going down the strip, and obviously it's 1990s Vegas, so the fact that the Strat's there is unbelievable. I've done that daft roller coaster that hangs you over the edge of the Strat. I wanted to do the bungee jump, but Sam won't let me do it. So I do want to do that off the side of there, Dave. I'll probably say all this and absolutely bottle it when I got on the end, but a mate of mine's dad did it, who's 70 a couple of years ago, and jumped off the side of it, bungeed right to the bottom of the Strat, which is ridiculous. But anyway, he goes round and I'm like, well, I reckon they could have made the airport. However, they do end up landing at Fremont Street, Day, which is the other way, is in the old town, and that casino was actually being knocked down a couple of weeks after they finished this. That's why it is filmed at the time.
Oh, yeah.
So it was all to do with the demolition and everything. They got permission, but apparently when the plane's coming down, the helicopters, people in Vegas were shitting themselves ringing the police because they didn't know it was a film. Obviously, that was shot. So, but yeah, the whole thing when it comes down, and the fact that literally nobody gets killed, do they? You know, like a lot of the people just run back into the casino while this plane's just like taking everything out as it comes down. But yeah, it's a silly silly sort of end piece that we're getting to. But again, Cameron's just completely unscathed. He's ready for action. You know, it's ridiculous. But again, I'm not shitting on it because I think it's still a great movie. But yeah, the whole end sequence is stupid. And that end bit with Cyrus is very Terminator 2 levels, the way they end up in that sort of construction thing.
Yeah, and you know what troubles me? And again, like I say, every damn scene, I mean, you're picking up on continuity over the location of Vegas. That is not the biggest problem in this movie in terms of logic. But the bit that I just can't get over is when he pokes the stick through Cyrus's leg, and then he's kind of going, but then, like, the physics of it, it's like it's gone through at a perfect right angle. And I'm like,
yes,
but he put it through from like underneath, so how does that work? And it's just utterly ridiculous, isn't it? But I mean, again, you get Ving Rhames obviously taking out, massive explosion, and I don't know where they have one of those big stomping things that slams Virus's head. I'm like, what is that just lying around so kids can like play around with it and stuff? Just incredibly weird. But, you know, out of all of those things, out of all of the nonsense logic that doesn't work, it's the fact that, you know, we've had this bunny all the way through the film, and when Cyrus has got his, again, great line, but put the bunny back in the box.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. Forrest Gump. But yeah, it's the fact that the bunny floats off and goes down the sewer drain. I think that's fishing out the sewer drain. He's meeting his daughter for the first time. It's like, here, have this sewer bunny. Just like, ridiculous. It's been through all this shit. You didn't need it to go in the fucking shitty sewer as well. So, yeah, it's ridiculous. And the little girl, she's Cassie. You know, she's not met her dad for ages, and it's like, yeah, you should be fucking fearful. This guy's a maniac. There's explosions going off everywhere. Yeah, but the fucking sewer bunny, it just really did my head in at the end, I've got to say.
It is, and I'm with you. And I think the music kicks in, doesn't it? And she's there, and he's hugging, and Cusack looks over Larkin, and he's like, he's made it. And it's like, yeah. He's also wrecked Las Vegas, that it's never going to come back for that for years later, mate. Even fucking Duncan's like almost laughing about the car, and he's like, yeah, I need another car.
Why would he laugh about that? He was so proud of it earlier in the movie, but it's like, yeah, I was sick of it anyway. Really? Yeah. You've just decimated. You're going to be paying that off for the rest of your life, but you've decimated Vegas. You're going to have to tell your superiors that you could have shot that plane down over just fucking desert. But no, you put many more people's lives in danger. They'll never work again.
What an ending.
It was. You know, they were originally, the script was to do it in the White House, and then they changed it because like Independence Day came out the year before, didn't it? And they blew up the White House there. And yeah. But, you know, you can't blow up the White House twice, you know, in 2 years. So, yeah, that's why they switched to Vegas.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. So should we get into our scores, Dave?
Let's go.
So, honestly, I've thoroughly enjoyed this. Great pick, Susan. Honestly, I really, really have enjoyed watching it again. It's just stupid. It don't make any sense. His hair has never made sense. From the minute it came out in the 90s, it never made sense why his hair. That's not 8 years worth of hair growth. It would have been a lot longer, but that's the whole thing of like, you know, he didn't want to see his daughter, and, you know, he was serving his time because it was his crime and all this stuff. Anyway, it's just brilliant as well. He's got great music, great characters, pure action. It's proper Saturday afternoon. Sat there, you got nothing else on TV, put it on, have a bit of fucking food, bit of sweets and that. And yeah, it's just everything about what an action movie should be. Again, I'm definitely going to watch this again at some point, Dave. It's a great movie. It's just stupid. I think I'm going to put it the top of Hill Valley. I'm going to put it in the middle for the simple reason that none of it makes sense. But if you just look past it, it's just a great action movie, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And having Vegas in there from the 90s, and even though I'm slating the continuity, was a little bit of a bonus at the end. So it made me go and research a bit more about the movie. So, no, great pick, Susan. So what about yourself, Dave?
You know what? I've been wrestling with this one as well, because it is just utter nonsense. Now, if we had a purely action-only movie scale, I think it's nearer to the top. But it is just such utter nonsense. None of it makes any sense. But I think I don't think it's supposed to make sense. I think it is. It's almost like Snakes on a Plane, isn't it? You know, it's that level of absurdity. And so I can kind of get wrapped up in these silly little things, and then I can just shake my head out of it and go along with it. I think having the music, you know, some great choices there. I think the fact so many great actors, and you've got these iconic characters, you know, Malkovich, so Mini, Stone Cold Steve Austin. You've got Steve Buscemi's character, you know, not Grissom, that was Cyrus Tavares, wasn't it? But whatever Steve Buscemi was called, Cameron Poe, and there's several, you know, cheesy Nick Cage winks, wasn't there? When he comes out, that iconic scene where he gets to smell the fresh air and you've got his flowing locks going away there. The nonsense of it, you know, the tropes of, you know, Cyrus Tavares is this hardened killer, but somehow Cameron Poe gets on his as part of his inner circle. You know, Ving Rhames has been his boy for ages, but you know now he trusts Cameron. You know, and don't kill these people and whatever, or these prison guards, because we'll have no leverage. So yeah, just utter nonsense. I think though, Chris, I'm gonna objectively, it does sit in the middle. I think this is a Hill Valley. But just, I feel like because it's so ridiculous, because it's so over the top, and this basically created a template for Michael Bay, you know, to just fucking go too far with the action. Because I don't really think, you know, I mentioned about The Rock, but in terms of the over the top nature, I just think this like created something new, and I think it looks gorgeous as well, the way it's shot and everything. So, Chris, I'm going to put it in Pleasantville. My logical self doesn't want to do that and wants to put it in Hill Valley, but I think it's so enjoyable. Like I say, it's like eating a nutritionless shit hamburger that you got for 50p from Netto's, if Netto's is still a thing. But you know, so it just couldn't help but enjoy it a lot. And so yeah, definitely I'll be watching this again.
Good stuff. And I was the same. I was like Pleasantville or Hill Valley. So no, I can understand why there, Dave. Now, next week's, Dave, I didn't really read the calendar. This one is a Patreon pick by our good friend Jack. And I was like, oh no, it's fucking Harrison Ford. Then I'm like, I'm sure we've done this. But anyway, we haven't done this one, Dave, because this is from 1989. It's a fan-made movie adaptation of the original 1981 movie, Raiders of the Lost Ark. This one is Raiders of the Lost Ark, the adaptation. Never heard of it, never seen it. Also, please, he's not Harrison Ford. And we're not doing the trailer for this one, but I'm really looking forward to this for next week.
Yeah, so we're going to save the trailers. So it seems we are doing our own fan-made trailers, Chris. See the connection there? Yeah. So we are going to save that one for next week. But this one is a fascinating story. I'd heard about this, but never actually watched it. So a bunch of fans of the original movie. I mean, you say made in 89. It was released in 89, but they started it many years earlier as well. So, you know, Jack's a big fan of this movie, or this adaptation, I guess. So yes, we have done the Raiders of the Lost Ark. This one will be a little bit different. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
No, I am, to be fair. It can't be any worse than the originals, Dave. So,
well, you anyway. Say that.
it is the year of the stitch-up, so anything could happen, Dave. So maybe that's the whole point. So I'll reserve judgment then. I won't be too hasty with that one. However, big thank you to everyone, as always, for all your support with the podcast. If you do want to email us, the vhsstrikesback@gmail.com. If you want to follow us on social media, at vhsstrikesback. And as I've said a couple of times now, we do all that. Anybody who can't catch the latest episodes, if this episode is probably going to be readily available, there shouldn't be any copyright strikes, so you should be able to get hold of it. So thanks for that feedback we've had over the last few months. Just going to slightly tweak it. I know you guys enjoy what we've done with our tremendous impressions. If you do want to support us, please get over to patreon.com/the VHS Strikes Back. So the roll call of honour and a massive thank you to Nick, Greg, Gareth, Mike, Lee, Helen, Dylan, Dan, Justin, Susan, Timothy, Matt, Hales, Ken, Lucky Lulu Green, Herbs, Jack, Math, Blade, John Hammond, and Mr. Tony Farina. So thank you so much, guys. Amazing support. Everyone who supported myself and Dave, past and present, we do appreciate it. So Dave, it's at this point we have a musical interlude. What have you got for us today, my friend?
Well, again, I go through my usual, what the hell am I going to do? And the thing is, he's just such a southern gent, isn't he, Cameron Poe? So I thought, you know what, we're going to have to go with a bit of kind of country rock. We're going to have to couple up that southern gent with the hair, which is utterly iconic for this movie. So this is Con Air, Where the Wigs Take Flight.
Welcome to Con Air, where the wigs were bold and tied. Welcome to Con Air, camera says everything will be alright. Plane, trying to get home with the criminally insane. They said you're free now, Mr. Poe. They gave me a ticket straight to death row. Like speeches and crowns, a man in a mask coming nursery rhyme. We got Johnny 23, got that sleaze on demand, and Buscemi's got the whole world in his hand. Welcome to Con Air, where the wigs are bold and tied. Welcome to Con Air, camera says everything will be alright. Welcome to Connie, where the wigs are bold and tight. Welcome to Connie, Camera says everything will be alright. Welcome to Connie. We hope you have enjoyed the ride. Welcome to Connie, with a little bit of homicide.
Very good. Very good. Proper 80s there, 90s, Dave.
Yeah, I could just imagine being in, some spitting sawdust blues bar or something, giving out a bit of the old blues southern rock there. So yeah, I had a lot of fun with that one. But Chris, amazing. I cannot wait for next week. So thank you very much, sir. Thanks to all our listeners. Thanks to all our supporters. And we'll speak to you next time.
Bye.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over. What the fuck are we gonna do now? What are we gonna do?
Maybe we could build a fire, sing a couple of songs, huh? Why don't we try that?
We better get back, because it'll be dark soon, and they mostly come at night. Mostly.
I'll be back.
That's not.
We came, we saw, we kicked its ass.
Wax on, wax off.
Get to the chopper!
One ring to go.
All right. Ding, ding.
Bust you up. Go for it.
Well, here we go. Ain't so bad. Ain't so bad. Ain't so bad. Come on. Ain't so bad. Ain't nothing. Come on. You must be crazy or something. I'm crazy. You just a stupid. Yeah, maybe you stupid. I ain't breathing heavy. He's a fool. He's stupid. I'll see you in 6 months.